Now to our first business story. The Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, has maintained that firmly stabilizing the cedi may be one of the surest ways of dealing with dollarization concerns. The central bank has come under some criticism of not doing enough to check pricing of some services in the country in dollars. But speaking at the Monetary Policy Committee press conference, the governor argued that strict enforcement of these regulations may not be enough to deal with the challenges.
Inflation is a phenomenon which is also related to economic developments, expectations, and sentiments. There was a time in this country nobody was interested in even advertising in US dollars when the currency was stable. Go back to 2017, 2018, when the cedi was very, very stable. People started focusing on the cedi. In fact, the forest bureaus did not have business. Some of them started shutting down in this country because the currency was so stable. So let's focus on the important things. If we focus on what the program is trying to deliver, if we focus on bringing stability to the economy, focus on bringing stability to our local domestic currency, individuals will not have an incentive to price in US dollars or hoard or hold US dollars. They're only doing so to, in a sense, manage their risk associated with the local currency. So yes, we don't want dollarization. Our laws do not allow dollarization. We are implementing the laws on that, but the laws alone will not do it if the fundamentals are not supporting the currency. So we have to attack it from both ends, work on the fundamentals, make sure that you have a currency that the people have confidence in, make sure you have a currency that people will not lose value over time, and therefore they will not even be interested in, translating all their cedi earnings into US dollars to sort of avert loss of value.
Now, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Dr. Stephen Amoah, has advocated a different approach to solving the rising inflation as opposed to the monetary tightening. According to him, the current approach by the Bank of Ghana is a disincentive to investors. He was addressing a gathering at the third Financial Economic Seminar in Accra.
Third Financial Economic Seminar focused on entrepreneurship development and policy initiatives that businesses can take advantage of to expand their operations. According to Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Stephen Amoah, Ghana's economy has experienced some challenges due to the neglect of entrepreneurship. To this end, he's urging the central bank to look out for a more favorable approach in dealing with inflation controls, since the current approach is hurting the private sector.
Monetary policy should be calibrated to rather create space for more credit and cheaper cost of credit. Sometimes I disagree, but I wouldn't say I'm right that we need to move monetary policy every time up because inflation is going up. I think we need to look at the cause of the inflation, whether it's demand pull or cost push. If it is cost push and you increase your interest rate, you aggravate the problems. But if it's demand pull, then you can do the otherwise. So I think the central bank and the banks should look at this, because sometimes investors are suffering at your hands or whatever, or some of your decisions.
Dr. Amoah also challenged young students to consider diversifying their skills in order to take up entrepreneurship.
One of the easiest way, or one of the simplest value chains you can create is from the agricultural sector. Producing juice from mango or orange. It doesn't call for any complex value chain management. So you can easily start something as a young one. And even if you are already having a white-collar job, you can diversify. You can spread your risk. It's so important.
Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abnal Sasari, used the occasion to emphasize the importance of small and medium enterprises to the economy.
I mentioned that our businesses are not just the heart of our economy. They are our backbone. Moreover, all available analysis on the structure of our economy suggests that to realize our growth and development ambitions, We must be intentional about supporting our SMEs, particularly in accessing financial resources that they need to thrive.
The theme for the seminar was entrepreneurship, a functional element for economic growth and stability of developing countries.
Now let's get on to Zoom and speak to economist Dr. Patrick Isumeni on these concerns raised by the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Agust. Good evening. Welcome to Business Live.
Good evening and good evening to viewers. Thanks for having me.
Great. It's good to have you, Prof. Prof, do you believe the governor's argument is justified?
Well, I think I agree with him in the main that the fundamentals of the economy are currently very weak. And when that happens, it's very difficult to stabilize the currency. So that is absolutely true. So what I think the point he's making is that, we shouldn't be expecting magic from the central bank when the exports or the current account is not working so great. The economy itself is not growing well, and the confidence levels have gone down. I think where I slightly disagree is that, yes, the fundamentals are important, but you also need to deal with the institutional arrangement around the ease of having access to foreign currency. I think that part is also enables the speculation aspect. So even if people want to people are speculating against the currency, the cedi, and they want to hold dollars, and we've tightened our rules such that people who ordinarily don't have any business importing or exporting or paying foreign workers or doing any of those don't have access to the currency. That will help, because whenever the speculation kicks in, it is the ease of people being able to get access to the currency that also supports and further heightens the depreciation. So in the main, yes, we definitely need to work harder to strengthen the fundamentals, but I think we should also tighten our forex rules, and so that people who are not importing don't need to service any foreign loan in foreign currency. The regulations are too weak. The systems are not strong enough. That's why we're able to have people buy and hold dollars in their bedrooms and all of those things. So I think we need to tighten that aspect. That will help address the depreciation. The speculation, depreciation related to speculation. But in the main, he's right that we have to work on strengthening the fundamentals of the economy. The economy has to be growing, it has to be more diversified, and we have to stop relying on over-reliance on foreign financing.
Rob, should we abandon these forex measures and focus on solely stabilizing the cedi? What is your response also to those who advocate for stricter enforcement measures? Basically, the Bank of Ghana enforcement agencies going about and monitoring these forex bureaus.
So I think the laws have to be enforced for their own right, because a society without law enforcement is like a jungle. So the laws have to be enforced. Once they are there, they have to be enforced. But without addressing the fundamental issue that puts the pressure on the currency, enforcing the law is not enough. I think that's how I interpret the governor to be saying. So yes, if you are laws that says don't price in dollars, those laws have to be enforced, because we have to be a country ruled by laws. What I'm saying further is that maybe we need to tighten those laws further and then ensure the implementation. But even if you tighten the laws and yet the economy is too dependent on imports or is too dependent on foreign finance, and people have legitimate claims to demand dollars, that's not going to stop the cedi from depreciating. So it's good to tighten the laws and enforce them. But that is not the primary solution to the problems that we have.
We also had the Deputy Finance Minister speaking. Do you think the Deputy Minister of Finance is justified in also suggesting that the Bank of Ghana should reconsider its inflation targeting policy?
I think that there's a broader discussion to be had about the inflation targeting regime. There's a sense, and I kind of align with that it seems like the current management of the BOG gives too much weight to the inflation. But we have to understand that the inflation targeting regime has been established by law. So if we think that maybe we need to rebalance, then maybe we should reconsider the laws. But even within the current regime, yes, there's been periods where we feel that perhaps the BOG pays too much attention to the inflation rate, even within this inflation targeting regime. But I think it's a fair debate to have whether, after so many years, whether inflation targeting has worked for us and whether it's time for us to rethink, our strategy for conducting monetary policy.
Professor,
But I mean, he's a lawmaker, so
right.
I'm sure he knows a thing or two what we have to do. But it requires a broader discussion about whether the inflation targeting regime has worked for us, and whether we need to re-strategize and refocus.
All right, Prof. We are grateful for your time here at Business Live. Now, moving on, fuel prices are expected to tumble between 2 and 4% for petrol, diesel, and liquefied petroleum gas in the coming days. That's according to the Institute for Energy Security. This follows a slowdown in the depreciation of the Ghana cedi during the second week of July and favorable international market dynamics. There is more.
According to the IES, the price of petrol fell by 2.99%, diesel by 4.59%, and LPG by 1.10% in the second half of July 2024. This, coupled with a slowdown in the depreciation of the cedi to the dollar, the lowest since February, will bring fuel prices down marginally. The second pricing window for July 2024, for the first time since the post-OPEC Plus meeting, saw Brent futures dropping below $80 per barrel. This was driven lower by disappointing global demand as Chinese imports in July hit the lowest level in 2 years. Brent crude traded at $78.70 per barrel compared to $83.03 per barrel at the start of the pricing window.
Now, let's stay on the sector because the Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Marketers Association has dispelled rumors that there is a shortage of LPG on the market. Speaking to Joy Business, Vice Chairman of the association, Gabriel Kumi, explained that even though the Tiawo gas processing plant is going to be shut down for maintenance works, there are adequate plans to lift LPG from Tema to supply all Ghanaians. Now, let's go on Zoom and engage Mr. Gabriel Kumi on this issue. Good evening and welcome to Business Live. Now, can you...
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, can you tell us the situation with LPG supply now in the country?
First of all, we are quite surprised at the rumors going around that there's going to be a shortage of LPG. I think it's being fueled by the fact that the Tuabo gas processing plant is going to go through a regular maintenance work from next week. But we had communication from our regulator, the National Petroleum Authority, that we've been directed to lift LPG from Tema to every part of this country. Formally, what it is that Atuabo gives us about 50% of our consumption. So the country has been divided into two. One part being served by Atuabo, and then the other part being served by imports in Tema. So once there is a shutdown at Atuabo, it means we are all supposed to direct our attention to Tema to lift LPG and distribute to both the Tema zone and the Atuabo zone. Obviously, that will bring a bit of pressure on the BDCs in Tema, but currently we have more than enough BDCs that have stocks. I mean, talking to the BDCs, we now have over 6 or 7 BDCs that have stocks that are ready to supply onto the market. And we are also ready to lift from Tema and distribute to everywhere across the country. I mean, when we checked this afternoon, the 800 gas stations across the country, each of them has opened and is doing business. There is no shortage in any gas station in Ghana.
Gabriel, tell us about your expectation in the next pricing window for LPG, basically.
Basically, I think IES has done the right prediction. LPG is going to be relatively stable. If we are lucky, we are likely to have a little bit of a dip in price. There may be a slight price reduction beginning tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Gabriel. We'll be back after this short commercial break with more update here on Business Live. Stay tuned. That was Gifty bringing passion to life in her business. That is a cake business. Now, for more news, visit myjoyonline.com/business for more updates. If you visit the website, you see fuel prices to fall between 2% and 4% in the coming days. That is according to the IES. Exchange rate instability could cause foreign debt levels to rise again by 2027. This is according to Professor Agloyo warns. So that'll be it for business here. My name is Winston Taki. Have a good business day. Bye-bye.